So, you may be wondering what on God's earth is parked behind me. Well, this is M4 Malou, and it's honestly one of the most disgustingly beautiful things I've ever seen. Kind of like a bioluminescent beach. So a man by the name of Cannon took a G82 BMW M4 Competition X-Drive and converted it into a pickup truck. But this is really more of a ute, and a ute is essentially a coupe car like the BMW M4, but just with a truck bed in the back. So the most popular example of this being the Holden Ute, which is essentially just a two-door Chevy SS with a truck bed. So definitely a niche category in the automotive world if you're living in the United States, but in other parts of the world like Australia, definitely a more common type of vehicle. But I came all the way from the right to the left coast to find out why on earth this thing exists and how well it actually functions as a ute. I guess we should drive this thing now? Yeah, let's do it. Man, it feels as good as an M4 should, I gotta tell you. I think the best thing about this car is that besides the fact that the back half is chopped off, it still just feels like a regular BMW M4. Now granted, this is my first time actually driving an M4 at all. I've had a chance to get behind the wheel of a G80 M3 sedan for a few minutes, but this is my first time in a G82 M4. And it feels pretty much just like an M3. It doesn't feel that much different as a vehicle as a whole. It's pretty straightforward as far as the driving experience goes. So just right off the rip, I gotta know what inspired this project?
Well, I've been always wanted to build a ute. BMW, they did the E30 and E30 convertible, and then they did an E93 to a pickup to move around equipment for the racing teams. And I've been always wanted to do it. For the past 5 years, wanted to do the F chassis, but then I figured as might as well just wait for the G chassis. But again, you know, I got the car in April 16, brand new from the dealership. And then I started doing some rendering and everything, and then decided to start on it late enough for nobody to be able to copy it for SEMA. And it took us about 6 weeks.
A lot of people online may be thinking that because you chopped the back half of this M4 off that it may not function properly as a vehicle. Can you confirm or deny that there's been any issues as far as just using this as a regular car?
No, the only issue I had, it was a backup camera. I didn't connect it correctly, so my camera didn't work for the first couple of days. So I went in and rerouted. The car in Mexico did 150 with that setup. So I can tell you that it can do 150 without fishtailing.
You're obviously experienced with building, but were there any major challenges or problems you faced when trying to put this together?
Yes, the corners to go down. We didn't want to just go straight like BMW did on the E92. We want to make it look more like a ute actually from Australia, because those are more solid. We tried to bring the original lines of the car out. A lot of people think it's a body kit on it. It's not. The lines from the tank, the gas tank below, is all OEM. We do, and we want to make the car look like this is something that BMW will have built.
What are some things I don't like about the car? Well, I mean, it would basically be all the things that I don't like about the M4 in its standard form. I'm not a huge fan of the way this car sounds. Like, let me see if I can give it a little rip. Third, second. I mean, it just doesn't sound as good as the E90s and the E46s. It just doesn't. But I think the ute conversion almost kind of makes up for the faults of the standard car, just because you've got this wacky, fun aspect to the vehicle now. And yes, obviously you're not going to get as much utility out of this as you are something like an R1T or an F-150 Raptor, F-150 Lightning, etc. Completely different car, built up from the ground up to be something completely different. But if you're just looking for a little bit more utility out of a car that otherwise doesn't really have much as a sports coupe, I don't know. I don't think you could really go very wrong with doing something like this versus, like, I don't know. There's pretty much nothing you can compare this car to because it's a one of one. There's nothing else like it. You've got the specialty wrap job that pretty much only one other car in the world, to my knowledge, has on it right now. You've got all these custom carbon fiber pieces, like prototype stuff. It's honestly wild how much has been put into this build. Is this something that I would personally want, or something that I would personally buy? Well, I mean, it kind of depends on how much money I have. If I had just like pretty much limitless capital to blow on cars, I probably would have at least one car that's like a converted Ute, something like this, just because it's so silly and so fun and just like so ridiculous to see in real life, but in kind of all the best ways. You get what I'm saying? Is it safe to say that this is one of the most like fun projects you've got to help work on here at
I would say
Airworks?
so. Honestly, in the booth, we have a Lambo there, we have another wide-body Porsche, RWB, but nobody look at those cars, but everybody's on this car.
When I first saw it, I immediately reached out to him just because I was like, this looks awesome. I have to get it on camera
and
if possible.
we actually talked about this project way before he bought the car.
About 6 months earlier.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I'm like, you sure? This is literally a $100,000 car and you stop chopping it the first thing, you know?
Round two. It handles very well for this kind of being an awkward oblong kind of shape compared to the standard car. You would figure that chopping something up and what some would consider to be desecrating a car like this would screw it up, but it don't. It really don't, if you ask me. If I had all the monies to blow and wanted a sports car, a utility vehicle, and just something that no one else has, something that a considerable amount of people will stop and be like, what on earth is that? You know? This car checks all of those boxes. There's still things that need to be added, like a tonneau cover and a few other bits, and he actually showed me some stuff that he's planning on doing for the car that he's not quite ready to talk about, but trust me, it's gonna be cool. It's gonna be exciting. Why? Just why? I mean, why not? How much space does it have in the bed? It's like something like this. Do the numbers really matter at this point? How does it handle, and is it comfortable on the inside? Well, I mean, this is just a BMW M4 with the back end chopped off. So as far as seating and comfortability, it feels just as comfortable as a normal G82 M4 would. And I think that's the beauty of this build, that it can still function like a regular car, despite it looking, you know, somewhat wacky on the outside. What is the max towing limit, assuming it has some? Well, that's a very simple answer. It's got the same towing capacity as a standard BMW G82 M4 competition with xDrive. You guys were just so emotionally reactive and just stimulated by this car in all sorts of different ways. So I thought I'd get up and close with this vehicle in the flesh and really determine for myself how good this thing is. So what have we learned here today, folks? I think we've learned that with enough time, dedication, and obviously resources, you can turn any cool car into something that no one else has on the road. It just requires creativity, ingenuity, obviously money. Man, I'm just walking out of this experience feeling incredibly inspired, because who would have thought you could take something like the M4 and turn it into something like this, quite honestly. So that's about it for this one, guys. Thanks so much to Canon for letting me drive this freaking masterpiece of a car. It's so awesome. This is the first of many car reviews that I want to have on the channel. I think it's about time for Cars with Miles to actually be about more cars with miles, right? So if you enjoyed this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe for future content like this. This is just the start, my friends. Final thing, what do you have to say to all the haters and naysayers of this build, all the ragers online?
People who love the work, thank you very much. Thanks for all the love. We're doing Christmas sales. We're doing discount for everybody, even for the haters. And we also make carbon fiber deals for all the haters, you know. And the people who love us too, they can get some love as well.